Okay, yesterday's class we were looking at case studies on big data aspects. So we will just continue with the same thing for today's class also, and try to look at some more case studies with respect to big data analytics. Right? Okay. So yesterday's class we had stopped at this email scanning and categorization using MongoDB. So an architecture of this was proposed for this particular system, right, where the email headers and other things will be scanned, and they will be cataloged. There will be a catalog that will be created for it. There is a data transformation which will happen on the headers and the catalogs, and a final catalog will be generated, and this will be displayed on the Drupal front-end system. Right, this was the email categorization and scanning that was looked at. So if you are looking at the technology stack that was used for this particular system, it is Node.js for doing the data transformation. Then we had MongoDB for schemaless database, and also you are using a RESTful APIs for fetching the data from the browser. You are using Drupal as a front end, and the basic unit of storage will be a JSON object. Storage and querying will be NoSQL and simple schemaless database, which will be used for this. Advantages says that it is highly flexible and scalable because of the JSON structure. Connectivity using Node.js, and scripts are written using the JavaScripts. So these are the technologies which are used for it. Just deviating away from the case studies, the common terms which was being heard many number of times is what is data science, what is data analysis, and what is software delivery. Right, these are the components which is commonly being compared with each other, and these are three different verticals, right? And these verticals, although they are connected with each other, there are terminologically speaking they are slightly different, right? For example, when you talk about traditional analysis, the traditional analysis is basically a tool based analysis, right? If I give you a data file, right, let's say that the data file is around 65 MB or something like that. So how do you basically analyze this particular data? You basically make use of a tool to analyze this particular data and give some results out of it. So that is a traditional data analysis system. So when you talk about a traditional data software delivery system, this is based on the continuous integrations, right? It is completely based on the SDLC lifecycle models, software development lifecycle models, where the software delivery is based on technology-driven software delivery system. It may be inclusive of rapid development softwares, inclusive of rapid development systems which are used for development as well as for delivery. So these are systems which are purely based on the delivery of a software on a particular platform. Now, when you talk about data science is a broader spectrum. It makes use of technologies like programming language, tools, right, code development, everything under a single platform, and it has n number of libraries inclusive of this. Right. For example, when you talk about data science, the very common language that comes into picture is the R language. Right. Then you have Python. Then you have tools like SQL, Hadoop, Hive, Pig, Spark, Mahout, and so many other libraries which are basically used for controlling, commanding, programming, deploying, and as well as issue management. So there are so many tools which are available to do this, right? So when you take a prospective view of the tools that are being used, one vertical is used for development, the other vertical is used for analysis, the other vertical is a combination of analysis as well as for development. Right? For today, when you are When I ask you to develop an algorithm on machine learning, right? Let's say that you are trying to develop an affinity analysis algorithm or a sentiment analysis algorithm, right? So when I ask you to develop an algorithm, what basically flashes in your mind is that you are using a Python as a programming language, and you basically use any kind of IDE like Spider, Anaconda, or Jupyter, or whatever is the IDE for doing the implementation, right? So this is a combination of programming language, the techniques under that programming algorithm, and as well as the tools which you are using that is used for processing that particular data to give you some kind of an output. So the data science is basically the combination of software development part, the analysis part, and some outcome out of that particular part. Right. Now, this is one vertical view that we are trying to talk about. The second vertical view that we are trying to talk about with respect to the comparison of this is the analytical methods that are used. Now, let's say that you are trying to talk about a traditional analysis, right? In the traditional analysis, you are making use of regression, classification techniques, right? Clustering techniques, certain accuracy techniques, sampling techniques, right? Certain visualization techniques, right? Certain measuring and techniques. So these are the techniques that you are basically trying to make a use of, right? So these are analytical models or methods that are available in a traditional data analysis system. Now, when you're talking about an analytical model in a software delivery, you do not have any analytical models there. The reason is because there are only well-defined software development process, which are only looking into coding as well as testing part of it, right? And also bug reporting and other aspects, right? Now, when you are talking about data science, the analytical methods are inclusive of supervised, unsupervised, reinforced learning, right? Deep learning, right? All these techniques are inclusive in this case. And the techniques, whatever that we are trying to talk about, are on a larger scale, right? We are not talking about a lower scale of traditional analysis as what we did earlier. We are talking about data which are on a higher scale, right? We are talking about techniques which are related to similarity detection, recommender systems, right? We are talking about prediction analytics, right? We are talking about coverage and accuracies, error detection methods. So there are so many techniques or analytical models which comes under the data science, which is inclusive of programming. You must understand that the traditional analysis just applies the algorithm, gives you an output. In a data science kind of a platform, you are applying the technique through a programming model. There is a development involved in it, and then you are looking at um, using it. So, very simple example what I can give you here for an analysis is in a traditional analysis, data analysis, you just make use of a Weka tool, right? The Weka tool has all the built-in algorithms within itself, right? And these tools, whatever that you are trying to talk about, you need not have to code them, right? That is the clustering or any other techniques that you are talking about. You need not have to code them because they're all standard available algorithms which are already been coded by Weka tool, and you are just ready to use them ahead and use it for your analysis. Whereas when you're talking about data science as a vertical, you are not talking about tool specific contexts. You are talking about programming using any one of the IDEs for a particular technique, maybe a classification or any other technique for which you are trying to get the output. So this is the difference between a traditional data mining or a data analysis to a data science. Science involves tools, programming, and analysis, all things put together, right? And when you're talking about the kind of people who are involved in a traditional system or a traditional analysis, you have mathematicians, scientists, statisticians who are involved in a traditional analysis, are largely based on statistical based analysis in traditional systems. When you talk about traditional software systems, right, it is developers, project managers, system engineers, and so on. When you talk about data science as a vertical, right, you have mathematicians, developers, scientists, system engineers, right? Statisticians, so many things are here, right? So this is another vertical which gives you that it's a combination of traditional analysis plus traditional software development system. So when you talk about the duration or the time frame that is required for doing thing, it is usually ongoing research or specific projects to determine certain actions. Right, many of the BI tools comes under this particular category of traditional analysis. So here in a traditional software systems, it is delivery based, release cycle based, and then in case of data science, it is discovery based learning for a product development, or it can be an ongoing research and product inventions and improvements. Right, that is the um, change. Right, when you are talking about these three terminologies: data mining or traditional analysis, software delivery systems, and data science. These are the three important things where they basically differ in their um, characteristics and things. I do not think that all these terminologies are same. All terminologies are different. Right? For example, today you have got a stream in BTech in computer science and engineering, which talks about data science. Right? They term it as data science engineering. But however, they cannot term the same BTech program or MTech program as data mining and engineering, because there is no engineering involved in it, right? It is just a statistical analysis based or tool based approach that you are trying to do. So that's the reason why when the engineering activities come into picture, that itself becomes a tool development, coding, right? Analysis, analytical methods, everything comes into picture in an engineering stream, right? So that is how it basically differs, right? So when you talk about engineering aspects, it is inclusive of everything. When you talk about analysis aspect, it is focused on a tool based approach for getting some solutions. So these are the major difference, right? When you talk about artificial intelligence and machine learning, right, where does it comes? Right, it basically comes under the hierarchy of data science, right? It is included under the hierarchy of data science and engineering. When you are talking about natural language processing, the programming comes into picture there. Again, it comes under data science, right? When you are talking about business intelligence, now business intelligence is something which is tool driven process. It is just an analysis that you are trying to do, so it comes under traditional analysis, right? Similarly, you have got so many other terminologies which are used. Robotics, which comes under, right? The robotics again is a combination of data science, mechanical engineering, right? Several other streams, electronics engineering. It's an interdisciplinary domain basically. So when you talk about scientific computing, scientific calculations, scientific based research, they all come under either um, the traditional analysis if there is a tool driven process, but if there is development involved in it, then they come under uh, the data science and engineering concepts. So let us see some examples with respect to these three verticals, right, and see how they differ in their working models. So when you contrast scientific computing is a modeling based system, right? Let's say that you are trying to talk about a surface temperature of a planet, right? So in specific, let's say that you are trying to calculate the surface temperature of Earth. Right now, this is a scientific modeling, right? You are doing a climatic modeling to determine this, right? And this needs to run on a high-speed computing clusters or supercomputers for you to deliver the answer for it. So these are problem structured, precise, right? Physics-based models that are being used to give you the answer, right? So these kind of calculations where an analytical model has to be developed or a data model has to be developed, and then there is some amount of coding that is required and things like that. So these aspects comes under the data science aspect. Now, on a contrary, when you are trying to talk about capturing of an image and processing an image, right? Let's say that there is an image of a supernova that needs to be um, right classified or something like that. You have taken an image of supernovas in the entire galaxy or universe. Right now, you are required to classify these supernova based on their stages. So, if that is a case, this is a purely a data-driven approach, right? When you're talking about a data-driven approach, right, the structures, whatever that you are trying to talk about, are completely random, right? They are statistical models. They have complexity in them, and there is no structure-related problem here, right? Need uh, you do not need a programming language to do this, right? Or there's no merely a very less amount of development involved because there are tools involved for doing the classification of this. So these kinds of problem can run on a lesser computational power systems, and they can deliver something which is good enough. So here you can see when there is a data driven approach, it is traditional analysis that you are trying to look at. When there are scientific modelings or analytical modelings which are very complex that are involved for processing, you are talking about um, data science and engineering. So this is how, when you take an example, the concepts differs in this particular way. So another example when you are talking about is the machine learning, right? Now, when you talk about machine learning, you are trying to talk about newer models. You are trying to talk about proving certain mathematical properties of a particular model that you have developed, improving or validating the data sets, right? Checking the relative cleanliness of that particular data sets, right? And you are trying to publish a paper related to that, right? It is a simple three-stage models. The three-stage models are data, algorithm, and model, right? When you have the data, algorithm, and model, right, you basically fall under kind of traditional analysis system. So similarly, when you are talking about data science, where you are trying to explore many models, you are trying to build and tune hybrid models, you are trying to understand the empirical properties of our models, you are trying to develop or use tools that can handle massive data sets, and you are also looking at taking some actions on this particular data set. Such kind of topics purely comes under the engineering activities, which comes under the data science, right? So then you have also have another terminologies which is called as data engineering and data science, right? So when you talk about a topic of data science and engineering, it is model development and analytics. When you talk about data engineering, it is bounded approach, which is basically looked out only for development purpose, right? So that means data engineering is a part of data science and engineering, right? Some of that ways, these terms are very, very confusing, right? Someone talks about data science and engineering, someone talks about data engineering. So when you talk about the word data engineering, it simply means it is development using the data, nothing else apart from that, right? But when you talk about data science and engineering, it is exploration plus development, right? It does not exclude development, it excludes it includes development along with exploration. That is the difference in this, right? So many of the cases, many of the universities either in India or in abroad are offering programs in PhD, MTechs, and master degree programs, as well as undergraduate degree programs in data science and engineering, because data engineering or anything is inclusively part of this, and you are also exploring generic methods of models, and this generic methods of models will also help you in exploring specifics of a particular case study or something of that sort, right? So typically when you're talking about problems, in a data science engineering, it is unbounded. You do not have any bounds for that particular problem, right? There can be interactive models or incremental analytical models that can be developed, which is better than what was developed earlier, right? So there is no bound for it, right? When you talk about data engineering, it is a bounded problem. The model has already been discovered. You are trying to code that particular model into an algorithm or a actual code, right? So the path to solutions in a data science is iterative, exploratory, and non-linear. In a data engineering, it is mostly linear. So when you talk about education level, the data science is at a higher level. It looks at PhD level, right? At a data engineering level, it is either bachelor level or a self-trained level. Presentation skills is important in case of data science, not so important in case of data engineering. Research experience matters a lot in case of data engineering, um, and data science engineering, but here it is not an important criteria in data engineering. Programming skills, not so important in case of data science, but it is typically very crucial in case of data engineering. Data skills, when you're trying to talk about, is very vital in both, whether it is data science or data engineering. So when you talk about data science, the case study can be something like cancer research, right? Many of your seniors are doing research in cancer related problems, right? And they are doing very very intuitive research on cancer studies, right? And today, when you are talking about cancer, it has become a most common problem, right? You talk about celebrities, you talk about anybody, they would have suffered from cancer, right? They would have undergone a chemotherapy, and the chemo would not have been successful, and finally they end up in their graveyards, right? So cancer has become very very important study under the medical research science, and it has been looking at lot of wings of analysis and things like that, where people are trying to find out if there is a possibility to find any kind of cure for cancer, right? So there can be two types of cancers. One is benign, and other one is malignant, right? A benign kind of a cancer, once when it is being treated, gets resolved and it does not recreate itself or regenerate itself in the same region where the operation operated area was there. But when you're talking about malignant, malignant is something which can keep repeating by itself, right? That even though it has been cleared, an operation was conducted successfully and the cancer was cleared, it can reappear itself in that same place. So malignant cancers or tumors are very very hard to treat, right? There can be multiple times that the same thing can happen, and the patient may finally pass away, right? So when you talk about the power of big data analytics and high performance computing, right? This is a place where cancer research can be very 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 useful, right? You can leverage sophisticated pattern of these cancer cells, try understanding how they have been developed on that particular region, and then find out whether it can be a benign or a malignant kind of a cancer, and try treating that with respect to the analytics and so on, right? So there are two parts under cancer. One can be a purely a cancer, the other one can be a tumor, right? Cancer need not lead to a tumor, right? Tumor is nothing but an extra organ that may be developed, which may not be required for the body, right? Usually when a cancer happens in the brain, it is called as tumor because it develops a extra component or a organ by itself, right? That may not be required. So when you talk about huge amount of data processing and recognition, this is a place where studies can help you to find out, right? Till today, nobody has found out a solution for stem tumor in the brain, right? A person who gets a stem tumor is most likely to pass away, right? Because there is no treatment for it, right? Then there are treatments like leukemia and other treatments which are not so successful. The success rate is very, 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 very less when compared to the other diseases, right? So it is very important to understand how cancer research studies and other things can be processed and how they can be solved, right? As engineers, right, nature has given us so many things, right? But what are we giving back to the nature, right? Can some natural calamity be stopped? Right? Nothing has been advanced till then. Right? Whatever is the technology that we have so far, that we call as so sophisticated, cannot control the nature. Right? Cannot control any activity. Right? Cannot stop something from not being happening. Right? So we are still at a very very low level of technology, right? And whatever that we are trying to do, we should be able to contribute for the betterment of society. That is more important with respect to all whatever that we learn, right? How is that, as an individual, as a citizen of this particular nation, I am able to contribute my knowledge, my skills, whatever that I have learned to the nation, right? So that becomes more important in all of these research and things like that. And there have been endless number of research involving cancer studies, involving lot of things with respect to cancer studies and things like that. And there has been repeated data sets which have been released from National Cancer Institute in India, right, where they are publishing certain important characteristics based on region wise, based on state wise and things like that. There has been root cause analysis which has been done for this cancer studies. Many of them fail to give the source, right? What can be the source of cancer, right? Is it because of the lifestyle habit? Is it because of the pollutants that we are consuming every day? Is it because of anything else related to our lifestyle which has caused that particular cancer? So there is no accurate study to find out the root of any disease, right? Still, till today, they are not able to find an accurate source of that particular disease, right? So just like the if you are able to analyze the pattern of how it improves and how it decreases and things like that, there may be a possible cure for it. But if you do not know the pattern of how they come across and things like that, it is bound to have fatality rate and mortality rate with respect to that particular issue, right? So it's very important that any disease or healthcare applications that we are trying to look at, first and the foremost thing is to analyze how the pattern of the disease has come, right? Why is that people are not able to find out vaccine for COVID? It is only because of the point that the pattern of the disease gets changed from person to person, and hence it is giving a lot of tough time for medical scientists to prepare a vaccination for it, right? There are no for example, you get a flu, right? Right, this flu has a standard pattern that right, you get a fever, you get a cold, you get some cough or something like that, and then after that the disease gets out of your body because your immune system is stronger to kick it out of your body, right? But that kind of a standard pattern is not there in any kind of diseases like um, COVID or any other diseases, right? So analyzing and finding out a common pattern of how the virus behaves or how that particular disease behaves is very difficult, very very difficult, because based on symptoms you are trying to find out how it is, right? If there are no symptoms, if there are no symptoms at all, finding a disease is truly very very difficult. That is what happens in most of these cancer patients, right? They do not know that they have a cancer, but once when they are coming nearing themselves towards third stage or fourth stage of cancer, then they come to know that time is too late and there is no treatment that is available, and obviously they pass away, right? Especially stem tumor is most dangerous form of tumor, because you will not know that you have a tumor until unless you come to the last stage of that particular tumor, and there is no way to have an advanced diagnosis to find out that you have some tumor or something like that. So this is a very very difficult thing, right? And engineers, scientists, medical professionals, doctors around the world are trying to find out reasons for it, are trying to find out solutions for it, are trying to find out some analytical models or patterns where they are able to solve this particular problem. Right? Till today, we do not have any solutions. Right? There are so many diseases which are not at all eradicated. For example, in early of 20th century, we had smallpox to be very, very critical disease. But smallpox has been eradicated from the surface of this particular earth, right? But we do not have such kind of systems which eradicate very, very important diseases like cancer, right, tumor, AIDS, or any other diseases. They are still trying to find out some solutions with respect to this particular system. So there are so many things which we are looking at. We are trying to look at how solutions can be provided for such kind of disease, but it is very, very matter, because whatever that we know is of a very less knowledge, right? And hence we are not able to find out any accurate solution for it, right? So this is about this, right? And the very important case study that we are also talking about today is the Internet of Things, right? If you talk about the statistics of 4 years back, right? Sorry, 5 years back in 2015, the data that was being generated by IoT device was just somewhere around 4 zettabytes, right? Today, when you're talking about 2020, 5 years later on, the amount of data that is being generated by many of these IoT devices is somewhere around 400 zettabytes. 400 zettabytes. That is the amount of data that IoT devices across the globes are generating today, right? And they are growing at a very, very rapid space, right? There are somewhere around 25 billion devices which are connected to internet today, right? And there are so many, uh, you know, uh, there are so many things which are connected with it, right? People today, when you're talking about 20 years or 30 years back, the last metric which was there for measuring the bytes was zettabytes, right? Today it has become yottabytes, right? Then brontobytes, right? Which are increasing in scale of whatever that we are trying to do, right? If you can observe my slide very carefully, right? You can see that we have started from a very small circle, right? Your gigabyte comes somewhere here, which is 10 to the power of 9. Terabyte that we are trying to talk about in our system is 10 to the power of 12. Petabytes that we are trying to talk about is 10 to the power of 15, right? So this was the scale of data that was generated by Facebook in the year 2011, right? Today, the Facebook and other social media are in this particular handle of hexabytes, 10 to the power of 18, right? So whatever is the IoT devices that we are trying to talk about and the data generation that they do are under this particular scale of zettabytes, 10 to the power of 21, right? So very soon it is very likely that we may reach 1 yottabyte, 1 YB, right? I don't know what kind of bytes people will start defining after 10 to the power of 27, right? Very soon we will come into this particular region of bytes, right? When our entire system becomes completely digital, right? Entire system becomes completely digital. This is the place that we are going to land up with, right? And that is a massive, very, very massive amount of data that we are trying to talk about, right? So IoT has become an integral part of many systems today, many systems, right? And then you have data science or massive amount of data that it is trying to unprecedentedly generate with a very high velocity is what a situation that we are trying to deal with, right? So big data, data science, IoT are very, very connected technologies today. The reason is because IoT generates big data. The processing of this particular big data happens using data science engineering. So the essential points is big data has given rise to data science. Data science is rooted in solid foundations of mathematics, statistics, computer science, and domain knowledge, right? So it is very important. From big data, we have evolved into data science techniques. So these are some of the links to several important case studies related to big data. I strongly recommend and urge you that you are supposed to go through all of these links for different case studies. They are very innovative. They are very important in understanding how case studies have come from big data. Very important to see how the solutions are being developed for these big data related case studies. And many of them have got 13, 17 different case studies. Some of these links have got 50 different case studies, right? And how these case studies have become very important, right? If I talk about LinkedIn and Facebook, they're traditionally very old, right? What they basically term as trivial case studies, right? So we have moved away from this trivial system of case studies into many complex and innovative case studies today, right? So I recommend that you basically go through these case studies and understand how these case studies are very important in big database systems. So that's it for today, right? So we will connect back again in the next class and try looking at some more aspects with respect to the case studies.